without further ado, thank you very much, evaluator. I'd like to welcome Ganesh Krishna with Let's Make the World a Better Place to Live. Ganesh Krishna.
When I was in high school is when I first observed this. And I said, why do people do this? To make more money? To build more fame? Or just for sheer pleasure? Having born in a middle-class family, this was not something that I easily understood, let alone having that in my blood. You must be wondering what I'm talking about. Racing? No. Wrestling? WWF? Not really. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, I'm going to talk about business and business people. I was born and raised in a tier 3 city in India, a place called Calicut. For people in Calicut, business was all about setting up a small store and selling something. And this was not something educated people did. Or at least that was the perception. Maybe the perception was created because most of the people who were born and brought up in a third tier city were not exposed. They had only a very limited exposure. When I went up to college, I started keenly studying about business, trying to understand how business works and all that stuff. And I realized business is not just about starting a small store and selling something. It's about creating jobs, creating a lot of jobs. So my keen interest in business was slowly transforming into passion. Fast forward to 1997, I decided to move to a tier 1 city, which is Bangalore, which is now well known for good reasons, and all of us know about that. Exposure was clearly much more in Bangalore. I could really see the contrast between tier 3 city and a tier 1 city. People were all talking about computers and technology and how computers and technology was going to transform people's lives all over the world, and particularly in India, which is a big economy, how computers were going to change the whole economy of India. I decided to do masters in computers, not by choice, not because computer was my passion, just by chance. Everybody was joining for computers, and I just joined the bandwagon and decided to do computers. The kind of inquisitive person that I was, and I still am, and I'm sure I'll continue to be an inquisitive person all through my life, I started keenly studying all the companies that were coming up in India, particularly in the IT sector, trying to understand what they do, how they build business, how they create jobs, and how they convey their value to their customers. And that took me to a whole new world of entrepreneurship, which is actually a much better word than plain simple business. And I soon realized those not so well educated people who were setting up small stores and selling something were actually entrepreneurs and not just business people. So slowly the entrepreneur in me was kind of waking up. Come 2000, I finished my master's. Just like anybody else, ended up being a software engineer. Again, not by choice. But by now, I knew my passion was not to be an engineer, but to be an entrepreneur. Nothing against engineering or engineers, but my passion was not that. I wanted to be an entrepreneur, I wanted to build a company, I wanted to create jobs, and I wanted to create value. So I enrolled for an MBA program. Not that you need an MBA to be an entrepreneur, all of us know that. But I didn't have any ideas, I didn't know what to do, and I didn't have any ideas to start a company. I didn't know how to build a company. So MBA was the automatic choice. And it seemed like a good choice. So enrolled for an MBA, did pretty well. And by the time I finished MBA, I realized business is not just about setting up a store and selling something. It's not just about creating jobs. It's about creating value. It's about creating value for you and me. It's about creating value for the companies that you and I work for. It's about creating value for the businesses that you and I use in daily lives. It's about creating value for the stores that I buy groceries from. And entrepreneurs are the people who take their ideas and build something that you've never dreamt about. Entrepreneurs are people who come out with ideas that will make things much more affordable. Bottom of the pyramid. Make things much more affordable. Make our lives much better. The entrepreneur in me was kind of arousing at that point in time. But I'm not really ready yet. I don't know what to do. Finish my MBA, want to be an entrepreneur, but I just don't know what am I going to do. So I continue to work. But interestingly, not being particularly observant about this, I was actually becoming an intrapreneur, which is an entrepreneur within a company, which was actually making me grow much faster than what I thought I could do. Gave me opportunities to travel through uncharted territories, do a lot of things that I never imagined in the same company that I worked for. And again, chance comes and knocks my door. This time, a US company wanted to acquire the company that I was working for in India, and they wanted me to move to US. That sounds interesting. Not just US, they wanted me to move to Portland. So come 2006, arrived in Portland, and I continued my travel through uncharted territories, but now learning new facets of business, like talking to customers, understanding their needs, building a product, building a market for the product, and conveying the value to the customers. But my dream was not coming true. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to start a company of my own. I'm still stuck being an entrepreneur. Something's going wrong with me. Last time in this story, chance comes and knocks my door again. Not just knock this time, started pounding on my door. I was on vacation in India back in 2011 and had an opportunity to meet with a couple of my good old buddies who used to work with me during our early years. And one of them was coming up with an idea to create a mobile technology for the Indian market, which is a huge market, and everybody's talking about mobile. And he wanted to brainstorm that with me. So we spent a couple of days brainstorming about it. There were a lot of interesting things that came up during the brainstorming session, and came back to Portland after my vacation. Started talking to a few people here, started talking to a few investors, wanted to try and see how we could raise money and all that stuff. And in 2012 Feb, I decided to take a plunge. Not an easy decision, but I wanted to follow my dream. I mean, if I don't do it now, I don't know when am I going to do it. So I decided to follow my dream, and I quit my job, started a company. And fellow Toastmasters, the journey has been great since then. Not an easy one, with lots of ups and downs, but I'm thoroughly enjoying it. And what I've also realized at this point, after starting a company of my own and running it for about a year, is entrepreneurship is not just about starting a company. It's not just about just creating a lot of jobs. It's not just about creating value. Entrepreneurship is a mindset. It's a state of mind. It's a way of thinking. It's a way of life. If all of us and all our friends could practice entrepreneurship in their lives and in their jobs, I think the world is going to be a much better place to live. Toastmaster.